Thursday's Widows is a Mexican thriller series on Netflix that centers on a group of affluent people who are obsessed with their status and is ripe with an interesting mystery and fascinating drama. Within the gated enclave of Los Altos de Las Cascadas, a private club of affluent individuals cut off from everyday life outside, reside 5 families, each with their own secrets. People inside its walls are fixated on keeping the ideal appearance. The discovery of Tano, Martin, and Gustavo's remains in a pool on December 26 leaves the neighborhood in disbelief. Mavi, the local real estate agent, is aware of the secrets of the families, and despite the horrific finding, she may well be the one who can reveal the meaning of the mystery night. Here is everything you need to know about the conclusion of Thursday's Widows if you're intrigued to discover the elusive truth about the night and its effects. Spoilers altered. Thursday's Widows plot recap. Over the past few years, real estate agent Mavi has assisted many customers in finding their ideal houses in Los Altos de Las Cascadas. Therefore, Gustavo Maldonado, the epitome of the new rich, finds his way to the neighborhood through Mavi when he arrives seeking for a home to surprise his wife, Carla, on her birthday. Los Altos de Las Cascadas, a utopia and a refuge separated from the outside world by a fence, promises a world of safety, privilege, and happiness to anybody who can buy it. There is still a connection between one's sense of self-worth and belonging inside its confines. The Thursday's Widows Club and the following Thursday Night Men's Group are therefore at the pinnacle of high society. Every Thursday, a group of ladies congregates to catch up on the neighborhood rumors. The majority of the women are members of the neighborhood committee, which is similar to a homeowners association. People begin referring to them as Thursday's Widows since their meetings keep them away from their husbands for nearly the whole day. Their husbands meet at Teresa Scaglia's home during this time. Each family in the neighborhood struggles with particular issues, yet they all manage to keep a positive public image because they are afraid to let others know their flaws. The Scaglias, a prominent couple in the area, have lofty goals, and Tano is known for pursuing his aspirations and succeeding in them. However, he recently learned that his company had closed down the whole Mexican business, beginning with Tano's termination. Martin de la Luna is a member of a political family and was born and raised in Los Altos de Las Cascadas. Martin leaves the family party anyhow in an effort to run for governor on his own because he wants to establish a reputation for himself. Martin discovers, however, that running for governor without the support of a major party is more challenging than he anticipated. As Gustavo, the new inhabitant, exposes himself to be possessive, cunning, and physically violent, Carla deals with her own problems. Last but not least, Mavi wed Ronnie, a talented and promising man. But along the road, Ronnie lost all of his goals and developed a marijuana addiction, spending all of his time taking care of his greenhouse. Mavi had to take over the role of the family's earner as a result of the household's ongoing, debilitating debt. However, on the evening of December 26th, when Tano, Gustavo, and Martin are discovered dead in Tano's pool, and Ronnie is in the hospital after attempting to leap off the top of his house, the family's increasing issues come to an end. Thursday's Widows ending. What happened on the night of December 26th? Despite all the happiness and celebration that Christmas provides, the Los Altos de Las Cascadas only experienced tragedy on December 26th. Ramona, the daughter of Mariana, and Juandi, the son of Mavi, frequently prowl around the neighborhood to observe the other residents. The adolescents thus end up in the bushes next to Tano's home on the crucial evening. Ramona and Juandi see intoxicated Tano and Martin wading through the former's pool as snow machines run amok in the background through blurry eyesight and out-of-context speech fragments. Tano and Martin get Gustavo to join them in the pool despite his reluctance. Tano, who is half-crazed, hits Gustavo as he attempts to flee and keeps him down in the water until he passes away. One of the snow machines falls into the pool and electrocutes the water before Tano or Martin can comprehend the seriousness of his actions. Tano, Martin, and Gustavo are found dead in the pool as the lights are turned back on after a brief power outage in the neighborhood. Tano had organized the entire night as part of his larger strategy, it would turn out. Tano is constantly hungry for achievement and never knows when to give up. Tano simply can't afford to damage his family's reputation in Los Altos de Las Cascadas. Teresa, his wife, is also drawn to the influence Tano wields. She is aware of Tano's success and respects him for it. Teresa anticipates Tano to obtain a promotion as a result, enabling the family to relocate to Miami soon. On the day in question, Tano discovers that his employer, the Dutch, has chosen to immediately terminate him after dissolving his department. Miami is no longer an option, even though Tano has enough money to comfortably live out the following year. Tano is overcome by a crippling sense of failure as a result of the news. During this period, Alfredo Insá, a buddy of his, instills an evil notion in his mind. Tano may still guarantee his wife and children a prosperous future even though he is no longer able to support his family in the manner he would like. Tano plans his suicide and stages it as an accident as a result. He can leave his family a significant life insurance payout by doing this. He decides to enlist others in his self-sacrificing cause when Tano seeds the concept in his mind. Martin has depleted his family's finances due to his political aspirations and ongoing incompetence, leaving him with nothing except a failed campaign to his name. In the beginning of the story, the man had 6 nanas for his 6 children. But by the end, he can't even afford to keep a roof over his family's head. Martin intends to relocate to Houston to live with his parents as a result. Tano easily persuades Martin to commit suicide and leave behind a fortune for his family because of Martin's depressed state. Last but not least, once Carla leaves him after he beats her and causes an eye to swell, Gustavo, the violent spouse, finds himself confused, furious, and ashamed. These men all identified themselves with their occupations, wealth, and spouses. As a result, people lose their sense of self when they can no longer manage these factors. They are ultimately left with little choice but to make a valiant effort to die as martyrs so that their families might experience their deaths with some dignity. On their weekly Thursday meeting on the 26th, Tano also tries to convince Ronnie to join his scheme, but Ronnie vehemently rejects him. Tano's remarks eventually affect him, and he attempts suicide by jumping off his roof. In the end, Ronnie triumphs, but Tano, Martin, and Gustavo perish in accordance with their scheme. Do the families get the insurance money? Tano, Martin, and Gustavo execute their grand scheme to ensure that their families are compensated for their sacrifices, hence it is imperative that their deaths appear to be accidents. As a result, a wild post-Christmas pool party provides the ideal setting for their unintentional demise. The plan's creator, Alfredo Insá, has also pledged that everything will go according to plan when the men pass away. The conclusion that Tano, Martin, and Gustavo perished in a strange accident is what the police reach when they arrive and depart. But Ramona and Juandi have a video on their phone that shows the opposite. In shock, the teenagers videotaped the entire scenario at Tano's pool when they saw the gory scene. At the joint funeral, Ramona and Juandi eventually used Mavi's phone to send this video to the Thursday's widow group chat. When the women and children discover the real cause of their husbands' and dad's deaths, they are shocked. However, after speaking with Alfredo, who reveals the significance of making these deaths appear to be accidents, the families rapidly recover. The footage is removed from everyone's phones after they all agree to keep this a secret. For the sake of their own futures, the community ultimately keeps up the facade that the fatalities were only unfortunate accidents. Does Mavi leave Ronnie? Every couple in the episode experiences marital strife throughout. The most contentious relationship is still Mavi's with Ronnie. Ronnie is not the same man Mavi married anymore. Instead, he lives a life that is almost entirely wasted while being high as a kite. And to make matters worse, Juandi has started smoking because there is always pot in their home, which gets him in problems at school. On December 26th, Mavi finally reaches the point where she is fed up with her spouse and yearns for something else. After months of living under her husband's neglectful and uninterested gaze, she finally decides to sleep with her head of security, Wagner. Nevertheless, Mavi tells Ronnie about her adultery while he is getting well after falling. Ronnie attempted suicide when he fell from the roof while trying to get money for Mavi, as Mavi learns through the final disclosure of Tano's suicide pact. Nevertheless, Mavi is relieved that her husband is still alive since she finds it difficult to envision adjusting to him passing as quickly as the other spouses did. In the same way, Ronnie understands that he shouldn't take his wife for granted and wants to be the husband she needs to keep her from moving on to another man. Additionally, neither wants to sever their familial ties for Juandi. Ronnie and Mavi ultimately decide to stay together with the silent commitment to improve their union. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more.